I'd never said goodbye to a man before. Not a man like David, anyway. A man I had been so close to, a man with whom I had shared so much of myself. But now it was time to say goodbye. So I stood up, leaned forward and shook his hand. I smiled, he smiled, and I walked out of the door, almost certainly never to see him again. A total of 20 times, stretching from spring to autumn, each for precisely 50 minutes, those occasions David and I spent together will live with me forever. Part of me wonders how I will cope without him, but I know there's nothing else he can do for me now. And there are no regrets, because seeking help was exactly the right thing to do. David was kind and attentive from the start, and while he knows an awful lot more about me than I do about him, I don't feel used in the slightest. Counseling is not for everyone, but it was for me. I desperately needed it during what has been the most difficult period of my life. So much has happened this year and there is, I know, so much more to come. But I feel ready to take it on because of what I've been through. I still remember the moment crisis hit. It was a Wednesday afternoon in mid-February, and I was on my way to Leicester Square to watch the sequel to Trainspotting when a great sadness overwhelmed me. In truth, it had been stirring for some time, but now its grip was suffocating, and I was struggling to breathe. So I got off at Elephant and Castle Tube Station and called someone I knew who was going through long-standing difficulties relating to mental illness and asked for his advice. The message was simple: seek help immediately. I booked an appointment with a GP and was referred to David. Our first session took place in early May. Even now, after my final session, I'm not sure if I was and still am suffering with depression. I was never officially diagnosed. It's certainly possible, and during the summer, at the height of my troubles, I was prescribed the antidepressant sertraline, which after some initial discomfort, painful headaches, problems staying asleep, has had a significantly positive effect. I continue to take it now. Seeing David on a weekly basis may well have saved my life, because it got very dark. I will never forget the Friday afternoon in July when I lay on a bench in open woodland near my parents' house in North London looking up at the sky. It began to rain, and although part of me wanted to get up and go home, I just stayed there, practically motionless, my legs dangling over the edge. I felt empty, fed up, devoid of happiness. The rain was having no effect. I was numb to it and considered ending it all there and then. Would I have gone through with it? Perhaps not, but the fact I was considering it was enough. This was rock bottom, and for the sake of my family and friends and my wife and daughter in particular, I had to rise up. David helped enormously. He listened and allowed me to unload my burden of anger, longing, and sadness. I'm 36 years old, married, a father, a homeowner, and a sports journalist.